In at number 10, early fame. James Corden revealed that he had to actually have therapy to stop being a brat after he became intoxicated by fame for the first time. Even as Gavin and Stacey co-star Rob Brydon had to step in and tell him off for his rude behavior while on set. Rob recalls saying, "Look, this is a bit awkward to say, but I'm just hearing these things about you, and you've got to know that the way you behave has an effect on people." Which is bizarre because the whole reason that he wrote this show for himself to, star in was because that he was sick and tired of people being rude to him over his weight and many other things. So to just turn around and be rude didn't really make sense. In at number 9, fake driving. Once transitioning from comedic actor to late night host, James had to come up with some new games that would keep his audience interested. It's a simple concept, but something that is at the very least relatable to most audiences, other than having a giant celebrity in your passenger seat, that is. Well, it turns out that the whole thing is a sham and a cheap way to trick their audience. A tweet went viral showing that James Corden doesn't actually drive the vehicle during the show, but rather has it being pulled around on a trailer.
They're doing carpool karaoke.
That is so funny.
Hey, Bieber. Justin Bieber.
Oh my god.
And James Corden.
Ah, that's so great.
In at number 8, Fight Club.
The second rule of Late Late Show Fight Club
Look,
is
James. The first and the second rule of Late Late Show Fight Club is I am not doing Late Late Show Fight Club. Okay?
Even though James Corden had an excellent opportunity to chat with Edward Norton, he ruined that chance by trying to do some weak comedic version of Fight Club, using his own writing staff. Right from the start, you can tell that Ed just doesn't want any part of this, and why would he? Fight Club was a great film, but it's one of the many that the actor has been a part of. Plus, he was there trying to promote a new movie, so why waste time on something like this? Although James still isn't getting it until Norton tells him that there are better ways of expressing masculinity. All the guy wants to do is talk about his film Motherless Brooklyn, which he not only starred in but also directed and wrote. But no, James wants a Fight Club parody sketch. Okay, what a waste of a guest. In at number 7, against his writers. When James Corden decided to do an Ask Me Anything on Reddit, it could not have backfired any worse. One of his producers named Jack Allison had made a tweet in regards to how poorly James had treated his writing staff, which was included in the litany of complaints made against the host. Jack tweeted, "I'd like to state once again for the record that I went to a WGA meeting for only late night writers, and James Corden showed up without any of his staffers to advocate for a lower pay grade for late night writers." Now, James tried to refute his point, but honestly, his Twitter replies aren't even worth showing here. He basically called his own producer a liar and stated that he cared about his writers while simultaneously arguing for lower pay at the Writers Guild of America meeting. In at number 6, distracted hosting. While hosting the Glamour Woman of the Year Awards, James got himself into a now famous argument with Patrick Stewart. Apparently, while hosting, he looked completely disinterested, and many felt that he gave off an attitude like he was better than the event. Plus, while recipients were accepting their awards, there was James just standing off to the side texting during a live awards show. So when Patrick Stewart came on stage, he decided to confront James over his rude behavior. But because some people hadn't noticed what James was doing, Patrick seemed to be the rude one in this interaction. Although in retrospect, he was a hero ahead of his time. Take a look at this awkward exchange and keep in mind that this was 10 years ago.
No, seriously, go on.
Okay.
No, go on. You can see my belly, and we can all see you dying right now. Let's go for it. Here we go.
Patrick was simply trying to tell James not to text while people are accepting their awards, and instead of apologizing, he got in Patrick Stewart's face. Like, what was he gonna do? Fight him? Because he asked you to have common sense? Bit rude? In at number 5, unrelatable. James Corden decided it was his duty to stand up for every overweight person in the world in defending their right to eat when Bill Maher said that we should bring back fat shaming. And judging by the way Corden responded to this clip, you would think that Bill called him out specifically. He didn't though. James is just that easily offended and has a bigger platform to cry on than most people. The point Bill was trying to make was a comedic one that missed the mark, but he was emphasizing that America needs to bring back shame, which it does. We should all have a little bit of shame, in fact. James tried to make this his champion moment of being the king of all that is good in the world, but started to lose people when he continuously made it about himself. He kept saying, "This hurt me because I wanted to be in movie roles but was too out of shape. His remarks hurt me because I was never accepted by society." But there he is, sitting behind a late night show desk, no problem. Also, in my humble opinion, if he didn't feel some shame about the way that he looked, James would have probably never been motivated enough to create his own show, Gavin and Stacey. He's trying too hard to be a fake idol by making his audience believe that he's offended by remarks that have nothing to do with him. Literally nothing to do with him. In at number 4, joked about assault. Right around the time that people like Rose McGowan and other accusers started stepping up and calling out Harvey Weinstein for his egregious behavior, James thought it would be fun to joke about it. Due to James Corden being a comedic actor and not a stand-up comedian, his jokes had absolutely no legs or timing. As a result, the audiences mostly groaned uncomfortably about the extremely graphic and too soon material that was clearly not well suited for a charity event. After the immense backlash, James tweeted, "To be clear, sexual assault is no laughing matter. I was not trying to make light of Harvey's inexcusable behavior, but to shame him, the abuser, not his victims. I am truly sorry for anyone offended. That was never my intention." Oh, so now shaming is okay, just as long as it's not happening to you. Another Italian actor named Asia Argento, who alleges that Weinstein sexually assaulted her when she was 21, tweeted a video of Corden's joke and added the caption, "Shame on this pig and everyone who grunted with him." I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name. In number 3, political harassment. While filming a segment on his show called Spill Your Guts, James was asked a very specific question about what happened when he saw Ivanka Trump at a wedding. James admitted that he was very drunk and continuously harassed the president's daughter at the wedding. He repeatedly told her that she needs to do something, which isn't exactly the place nor the time. Plus, who does James Corden think he is? He wasn't born in America. He came there so that he could make more money. So why does he feel this entitlement to trash the country that accepted him? Plus, harassing the president's daughter while at a wedding, while drunk, is perhaps the biggest indicator that James has no self-awareness.
But I remember that we were quite drunk and we started going, "Ivanka, you can do something. You can make a difference." I remember Ivanka was going, "I'm trying."
In at number 2, hates his fans. Going back to that disastrous Reddit Ask Me Anything post that he made, we have countless people who were once fans of James claiming negative interactions with the host. One Redditor mentioned the time that he saw James Corden filming the UK game show A League of Their Own, and while other stars were polite and engaged with fans, Corden couldn't have cared less. It's a bit of a long post, so I'll just point out the most egregious examples. The Redditor writes, "James came in for a brief moment, someone asked politely for a quick picture, and he abruptly said later, and then left to his changing room for the rest of the night," which means they never got the photo. Then they closed it off by saying, "Seeing him like that made me realize everything you see of his on TV is a complete persona, and really his natural personality is just a complete self-entitled," and that's a word that I'm not allowed to say on YouTube. So, but you get the point. You get the point. I'm not gonna say that word. It's a bad one. Last but certainly not least, in our number 1 spot, Happy Mother's Day. Then there was this crazy airplane story involving a woman and a baby. There's for sure no way to verify whether or not the story is true, but it does seem pretty much in line with what others have been saying about the late night host. Apparently, a woman with her crying baby was sat next to James Corden on a flight, but to many people's surprise, James didn't complain. He simply put in his noise-canceling headphones and pulled a mask over his eyes, then turned away from the woman to sleep. However, when the plane landed, Corden remained in his seat as the woman with the baby struggled to open her overhead compartment. What makes the story even worse is that the woman then turned to James and asked him to at least hold the baby while she was getting the bags down. Turns out that woman was his wife, and that baby was his baby.
So starting off at number 10, we have Winona Ryder. Winona Ryder very famously dated Johnny Depp in 1989 to 1993, and they had a very public and somewhat messy relationship. But in the end, the two are very fond of each other, and they have such a good relationship that Winona made a point to defend Johnny when Amber was accusing him of horrible things. In a statement, Ryder said, quote, "I understand that it is very important that I speak from my own experience, as I obviously was not there during his marriage to Amber. But from my experience, which was so wildly different, I was absolutely shocked, confused, and upset when I heard the accusations against him. The idea that he is an incredibly violent person is the farthest thing from the Johnny I knew and loved. I cannot wrap my head around these accusations. I truly and honestly only know him as a really good man, an incredibly loving, extremely caring guy who is so very protective of me and the people that he loves, and I felt so very, very safe with him." And even though she made a point to not dismiss Amber's claims, she felt the need to let everyone know that Johnny was nothing but a perfect gentleman in their relationship. In at number 9, Vanessa Paradis. Vanessa Paradis was in a relationship with Depp from 1998 to 2012, and they shared 2 children together. She also made a point to defend Johnny and make it clear this picture Amber was painting of him was false, saying in her statement, quote, "I've known Johnny for more than 25 years and we raised our 2 children together. Through all these years, I've known Johnny to be a kind, attentive, generous, and non-violent person and father." And then referring to the new allegations, she added, quote, "This is nothing like the true Johnny I have known, and from my personal experience of many years, I can say he was never violent or to me." So yet again, another former partner who was brave enough to say the truth about Johnny, even though I'm sure at the time she got tons of hate for going against a fellow woman. And at number 8, Sia. Sia's statements in support of Johnny are the most recent on this list, but out of seemingly nowhere, the singer came out on Twitter to address her support for Depp. She started by tweeting out a video showing the leaked audio recordings of Amber Heard talking about how she had lost it on Johnny in the past. Then she made her support even clearer, tweeting out, quote, "Just showing my public support for Johnny Depp. I mean, I'd love him to get clean and stop with the jewelry, but he's clearly the victim after hearing those tapes." But Sia wasn't even done, and she finished off her support by calling out Amber Heard's former boyfriend, Elon Musk. Writing, quote, "Also at Elon Musk, didn't you give her the $7 million she donated from her settlement? She still came out $7 million richer. Why are you protecting her? She will never get the help she needs if we all stay silent." So clearly Sia is very opinionated on the matter and wants to see Amber Heard brought to justice. And really, you can't blame her at this point. In at number 7, Allison parody. The Parody family is very clearly a big fan of Johnny Depp because Vanessa Parody's sister Allison also made a point to defend Johnny. She showed her support in the form of an Instagram post, posting a picture of what looks to be the two of them together, then writing in the caption, quote, "You are and always will be family to me. You are one of the funniest and most loving people I know. And it's not always a given for your in-laws to like you, so the fact that they are going out of their way to defend Johnny like this is really huge in my eyes." In at number 6, Lily Rose Depp. And of course his daughter Lily Rose Depp made a point to defend her father against the claims. She first posted a screenshot of an article from People, which showed that the LAPD had been to the couple's house after Amber called them, but they didn't find any proof that Depp had caused any harm, so no charges were pressed. With a statement reading in part, quote, "There was no evidence of any crime. A crime did not occur, so the officers left the scene and left a business card." Then she posted a photo of her and her dad back when she was just a baby, captioning the photo, quote, "My dad is the sweetest, most loving person I know. He's been nothing but a wonderful father to my little brother and I. And everyone who knows him would say the same." So here it is very clear that she supports her father and wants everyone to know that at that point there was no proof of anything other than what Amber had said happened. Halfway number 5, Laura Wasser. Laura Wasser is Johnny Depp's attorney, and of course it's her job to protect and defend Johnny, so she would make statements in support of him. But in one statement where she spoke of the case, she said that Heard was, quote, "attempting to secure a premature financial resolution by alleging abuse." Adding, quote, "Her current application for a temporary restraining order, along with her financial requests, appears to be in response to the negative media attention she received earlier this week after filing for divorce. Yet Johnny cannot protect himself or Amber from media scrutiny, and Amber's anger certainly cannot drive this dissolution proceeding." Continuing that Amber doesn't need any of Johnny's money because she's a successful actress and should have had plenty of money of her own. With Wasser adding that Heard took advantage of Depp at an emotional time, as his mother had only died 3 days before Heard filed for divorce. So here Wasser is trying to make it clear that Heard has bad intentions and not only wants to exploit Johnny for money, but wants control of her press narrative as well, which I think perfectly shows, the kind of person that Amber is. In at number 4, Paul Bettany. Paul Bettany is an actor who has worked alongside Johnny Depp in 3 movies in the past: Transcendence, The Tourist, and Mordecai. And because of all the times the two have worked together, Bettany figures he was a good person to be a character witness of Depp's. Bettany showed his support on Twitter, writing, quote, "Known Johnny Depp for years and through several relationships. He's the sweetest, kindest, gentlest man I've ever known." Just saying. With most of the replies under the tweet thanking him for speaking out and commenting that he was right now that the news came out that leaked audio recordings showed that Amber had hurt Johnny before. And at number 3, David Yates. Johnny Depp was announced as playing Grindelwald in the sequel film Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. And after the announcement, there were cries to exclude him from the film and recast, after reports surfaced of Amber Heard's accusations. But after much deliberation, the director David Yates and other studio executives made the decision to keep him in the film. And after some backlash, Yates himself came out with a statement on the matter. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Yates said, quote, "Amber's claims were one person who took a pop at him and claimed something. Whatever accusation was out there, it doesn't tally with the kind of human being I've been working with." So clearly here, Yates felt that the accusations were false from the get-go. And at number 2, J.K. Rowling. In the same context as Yates, J.K. Rowling also had to make a public statement after her and the other studio executives made the decision to keep him in the film. According to the statement, after claims were made about Depp, it was considered that the studio recast him. But Rowling implied that the fans might not know the full story on the matter, implying that Amber was hiding things. Saying in the statement, quote, "For me personally, the inability to speak openly to fans about this issue has been difficult, frustrating, and at times painful. However, the agreements that have been put in place to protect the privacy of two people, both of whom have expressed a desire to get on with their lives, must be respected. Based on our understanding of the circumstances, the filmmakers and I are not only comfortable sticking with our original casting, but are genuinely happy to have Johnny playing a major character in the movies." So clearly there, Rowling felt that she knew the truth and stuck to her guns. And finally, number 1, Laura Devenir. Laura Devenir is an interior decorator to many stars, so it's safe to say she's seen celebrities in their truest lights. And even though she's a former friend of Amber Heard's, she did the right thing and made a statement against her in court for the defense of Johnny. In it, Devenir claims that she didn't see Amber Heard's bruises after an alleged fight between her and Depp on May 21st of 2016. And even though Amber tried to release a recording making the statement look false, Johnny's lawyers included an email from after the recordings saying again that Devenir had never seen bruises on Amber's body. And although the timeline of events can be pretty confusing, since Devenir has continued stating that she never saw the bruises, this pokes more holes in Amber's story and clearly proves that she lied. In at number 10, Nick Lachey. Nick Lachey also exposed Kim for being a little too friendly with the paparazzi in order to get some publicity from him. The singer claims that Kim might have only been dating him for publicity. Apparently the pair only dated for about a week, and some shady stuff went down. One time he said, "Let's just say this, we went to a movie, no one followed us there. Somehow, mysteriously, when we left, there were 30 photographers waiting outside." And I think from that story, it's very clear that Kim was tipping off the paparazzi, so there would be photos of them together. And if you didn't already know, unless someone is like incredibly famous, if there are paparazzi when they are out, they definitely tipped off that paparazzi. In at number 9, Jon Hamm. The Mad Men star definitely has some choice words for the Kardashians, and based off what he said, it's clear he does not like the family and doesn't approve of how they rose to fame. With him telling LUK, whether it's Paris Hilton or Kim Kardashian or whoever, stupidity is certainly celebrated. Being an idiot is a valuable commodity in this culture because you're rewarded significantly. It's celebrated. It doesn't make sense to me. So clearly he doesn't like the reality TV stars whatsoever and doesn't like how our society praises socialites like Paris Hilton and the Kardashians. And like, I kinda get where he's going. Like, you know, he has some valid points. In at number 8, Kristen Cavallari. Kristen Cavallari has a very interesting relationship with the Kar Jenner clan. It all started when Kristen dated Brody Jenner, and through that relationship she also became friends with the Kardashians. But after Brody and Kristen broke up, there was tension between Kristen and Kourtney Kardashian. After Kourtney caught Scott out with Kristen while they were in an off period. And after that, Kristen called out the family for using that information as a publicity stunt to get viewers to their show. And allegedly, after rumors broke that Kristen and Scott were having an affair, the Kardashians refused to deny it and instead waited to address it on their show, leaving Kristen looking like, you know, the bad, terrible other woman when it just wasn't even true. More than a little shady if you ask me. In at number 7, Barack Obama. Former President Barack Obama also couldn't hold his tongue when talking about the famous family. And it's definitely quite the compliment when the president is speaking about you. Or is it? The former president was talking about the changing dynamics of the American dream and how it's shifting with time, saying, "There was not that window into the lifestyles of the rich and famous. Kids weren't monitoring every day what Kim Kardashian was wearing or where Kanye West was going on vacation, and thinking that somehow was the mark of success." And ouch, here it's pretty obvious he was throwing some major shade their way. And he doesn't seem to like how they are now the standard for what success is. And apparently Kanye West did not like those comments and actually fired back at the president. But also, since Obama was a former president, you know, I trust his opinion and judgment way more than Kanye's. And at number 6, Kris Humphries. Kris Humphries was someone who probably challenged the Kardashian family the most and exposed secrets about them I'm sure they did not want out. Kim and Kris got married in one of the most lavish televised ceremonies ever, but famously, after only 72 days, the couple split because Kim was having second thoughts. But based off how much content their reality shows got because of that relationship, then the breakup, Kris called Kim out for fraud, arguing that the whole relationship was just a publicity stunt. And their divorce was so messy it lasted 2 whole years before it was finalized. But during the massive trial, Kris exposed that a lot of the Kardashian show was scripted, and that the show purposefully made him look bad. Like when him and Scott threw a party in one episode while the girls were out of town, and they looked really horrible for going behind their backs when they told them not to have the party. The whole thing was actually just a huge sham, with Kim and Kourtney knowing about about the party and acting like they didn't know for TV, in turn making Chris look like a terrible husband when it literally wasn't like that at all. Halfway number 5, Rebel Wilson. Rebel Wilson revealed on a radio show that she was presented an opportunity to present an award with Kendall and Kylie Jenner, but Wilson ended up turning it down, with her saying in the interview, "I got asked to present with Kendall and Kylie at the recent VMAs and said no. It's not that you hate any of them individually, but it's just that everything they stand for is against everything I stand for, and they're not famous for talent. I've worked really hard to get where I've gotten to." And even though a lot of people who dislike the Kardashians share the same sentiments, Oprah Winfrey actually came to their defense against Wilson, if you can believe it, with Oprah saying that she couldn't believe how hard the family works, referencing when she filmed the family for Oprah's show, with crews taping the family for 7 hours straight, and then they filmed more of their reality show after. So, as we all know, the Kardashian family really works very hard, even though it doesn't seem like they do too much. And at number 4, Bette Midler. After Kim uploaded her incredibly famous nude selfie where she covered her, nether regions with just like black bars, the internet went ablaze talking about it. One of the people that didn't hold their tongue was Bette Midler, who tweeted out, "Kim Kardashian tweeted a nude selfie today. If Kim wants us to see a part of her we've never seen, she's gonna have to swallow the camera." Which, come on, you have to admit, it's pretty hilarious. Like, even if you like the Kardashians, like, it's a good tweet. As a clapback, Kim tweeted out that it was past Bette's bedtime and that she was a fake friend. And Bette responded back, "Looks like anyone can take a selfie, but not everyone can take a joke." And then she lightened the tension by posting her own nude. When talking about the feud later, Bette had no hard feelings and said she takes Twitter pretty lightly and hoping that Kim did the same. Hopefully Kim wasn't actually too peeved about that. I mean, come on, it was clearly a joke. I don't know. And at number 3, Wendy Williams. If you watch Wendy's show, which I definitely do on occasion, she spills the tea like nobody else, then you know she does not like the Kardashians and is always very blunt when talking about them. But Wendy got the spot of a Kardashian hater when she made some shady comments about Kim after her robbery incident. And when talking about the incident in Paris, Wendy said, "I would hope that she's not making any part of this up for dramatic effect. Because this family, they're kind of soulless. You can't believe everything that you hear." But this was very, very upsetting. And although I do not agree with Wendy at all that the Paris incident was a publicity stunt, a lot of people did feel that the incident could have been exaggerated by the family for views, with people citing numerous times in the past that this has happened with the family. And again, I do not agree, but I mean, she just brought it up as kind of a possibility, and obviously, she loves to shade them whenever she can. And at number 2, Blac Chyna. Blac Chyna is another Kardashian ex who was ousted from the family after her and Rob's relationship ended. And you know that whatever went down was bad, because the family is still nice to Tristan and not Chyna, even though Tristan is arguably way worse and embarrassed them so much more. The first of the feud was surrounding the fact that Kylie started dating Tyga, who was Chyna's ex. Then Chyna started dating Rob. And then the two got engaged and then pregnant very quickly. But after they had Dream, the whole thing fell apart and Chyna and the Kardashians were facing off on social media. Chyna even filed a lawsuit against the family, claiming that they stopped her show Rob and Chyna from getting a second season. A judge dismissed that case, but Chyna still shades the Kardashians whenever she can. And at number 1, Anna Wintour. This last one is something that I had no idea existed, but it's probably the shadiest one of all. So Vogue is one of the most prestigious magazines to be on the cover of, and Kim Kardashian and Kanye West were put on the cover in a very controversial move by the magazine's editor, Anna Wintour. When talking about the criticism, she noted that it would be a misstep to ignore the couple's influence, and she made the choice to lead and deal with the backlash rather than follow. And all of that praise to the couple is, all well and good, until she gives them quite a backhanded compliment, saying, "I think if we just remain deeply tasteful and just put deeply tasteful people on the cover, it would be a rather boring magazine. Nobody would talk about us." And although I totally get what she's trying to say, calling the couple, deeply untasteful is definitely more than a little shady. But I mean, if anyone can shade anyone, it's Anna Wintour. She can shade whoever she wants. Starting off at number 10, we have Nicki Minaj. The most obvious person that hates Cardi is Nicki Minaj, because at this point they are the two top women in rap, with Nicki being at the top for decades, while Cardi recently exploded onto the scene with massive success. The two have not always publicly feuded, even though there have always been rumors that they didn't like each other. It seemed like they were back on good terms when they both collabed in the Migos song Motorsport. But then shortly after New York Fashion Week, we got to see the truth of the matter, when Cardi straight up came for Nicki, lunged at her and threw her shoe at her face. A person that was there told E! News, quote, "It was so fast. I heard someone screaming. Everyone recognized Cardi's voice. People either got out of the way or took out their phones and started filming." Nicki was surrounded by a bunch of guards and barely even looked at her. Next thing you know, shoes were flying and Cardi was on her way out. With a massive bump on her head, by the way, I might add. Probably the most iconic picture literally ever. But the night did not end well for Cardi, as she left with a huge bump on her head, courtesy of Nicki's security. As a response to the outburst, Cardi posted on Instagram that Nicki talked trash about her mothering, and that's why she did it. Nicki aired her side of things on her Queen radio show, saying the scuffle was, quote, "so mortifying and so humiliating to go through," adding she would never talk about someone's child or parenting. Then there was another incident where Nicki allegedly leaked Cardi's number, which Cardi obviously did not take well. But a day later, Nicki seemingly called a truce on Twitter, saying she, quote, "won't be discussing this nonsense anymore," and encouraging people to talk about the positive, and Cardi agreed. So they might potentially be cool now, but after this everyone knew just how physical Cardi could get when she was mad.
In at number 9, Ra Ali. Due to Ra Ali being friends with Nicki Minaj, it's no wonder that she too has tried to warn people about Cardi B. Although even enemies by association sometimes have their own gripes with that person. Back in 2018 though, Ra and Cardi got involved in a physical altercation, the one that Mackenzie was talking about, that took place at the New York Fashion Week, with Cardi B leaving it with a visible bruising on her face. Both Ra Ali and Nicki Minaj would leave without a scratch though. A short time later, Ali called out Cardi B during an interview and said, "I don't knock nobody's come up, but don't try me. I got 1 in the chamber, 14 in the clip. This was a warning shot. I will release receipts and destroy you, Cardi. Try me. So instead of writing me essays on Instagram, find yourself a pen and paper and write your own raps." Woo! She then went on to call her mentally incapacitated.
And at number 8, Azealia Banks. After the whole New York Fashion Week scuffle, the rap world started to divide pretty firmly on two sides of the battle, either Team Nicki or Team Cardi, basically like Johnny mentioned before. And Azealia very firmly took Team Nicki. But a lot of people didn't think this was necessarily because she supported Nicki, but because she just hated Cardi so much, and already had been in feuds with her in the past. When speaking about the feud, she said about Cardi, quote, "She doesn't understand the rules of black female etiquette. She doesn't understand that black women in 2018, we fight with our words, not with our hands." Then continuing on that Cardi is, quote, "stupid and ghetto," and that she should be kicked out of the black community. Then speaking about race again, Azealia called out Cardi for only speaking about her black heritage when it's convenient for her, even calling her the, quote, "poor man's Nicki Minaj." Adding in the interview, quote, "2 years ago, the conversation surrounding black women's culture was really reaching an all-time high. We were really discussing our power amongst ourselves. Beyonce came out with Lemonade, and there was just really intelligent conversation going on nationally. And then everything just kind of changed, and then it was like Cardi B." So clearly Azealia is not a fan whatsoever.
In at number 7, Tomi Lahren. When President Trump decided to shut down the government in 2018 to force Congress into paying for his border wall with Mexico, many celebrities spoke out against him. Although one defender was conservative commentator Tomi Lahren, who wasn't happy with what Cardi B had to say about the matter. In a tweet, Tomi mocked Cardi B and said, "Looks like Cardi B is the latest genius political mind to endorse the Democrats. Ha, keep it up, guys." In response, Cardi said, "Leave me alone, I will dog walk you," which basically means she'll beat her up somewhere. And instead of backing off though, Tomi doubled down with her comments and said in response, "I'm sure you would, still doesn't make your political rambling any less moronic." Now, I don't like Tomi Lahren at all, but politics is her field, whereas Cardi B didn't exactly know what she was talking about, and this became evident when she started tweeting about her tax dollars going to pay for people's insurance.
And at number 6, The Shade Room. So if you guys don't know of The Shade Room, it's a popular Instagram account that shades celebrities and talks about their drama. But Cardi made it very clear that she does not like when blogs talk badly about her or her friends, when she publicly called out the owner of The Shade Room in a long ranty video. After they posted about Offset getting charged with gun possession, she ranted that they only write negative news, saying that since the owner of the blog is not allowed to post about Cardi, they instead post about all the people that she's close with, trying to bring hate their way. Adding that she doesn't need them to only post positive stuff about her, but they should cover some good and some bad to keep it fair. And the most shocking thing about this rant to me was that The Shade Room is not able to post about Cardi, which clearly shows that she cannot take criticism. And the fact that she needs to put these blogs on blast when they speak negatively about tons of other celebs too, just shows that she thinks everything's about her.
In at number 5, Asian Doll. Music is subjective, and so obviously people will have different opinions on who their favorite artists are. However, when Cardi B released a list of her up-and-coming favorite female rappers, she really angered a few people left off that list. Cardi posted the list to Twitter in August of 2018 and said, "New female rap artists on my list, City Girls, Cupcake, Sweetie." Now, initially Cardi B was criticized for creating a list at all. A lot of people felt like co-signing new artists typically comes from those who have been in the industry for decades, but one of the main people that got really upset and tried to warn us about Cardi B was fellow female rapper Asian Doll. In response to Cardi's list, she wrote, "I don't need no co-signs, I got co-signed by two of the biggest artists in hip-hop, now it's time for me to just do my thing and go hard."
And at number 4, Naomi Campbell. Naomi was another person that took Nicki's side after the Fashion Week blowout, because obviously Naomi was unimpressed that Cardi made a mockery out of the fashion event. When talking about the night with Andy Cohen, Campbell said it was very disappointing to see, regardless of whatever reason Cardi had for starting the fight, saying, quote, "I was disappointed. I don't want to see women of color fight. I don't want to see women fight, period. Not there. That's it. It's all music. There's no division of music. Music's for everybody. There's no discrimination, so I felt very disappointed." Yikes. And we know that Naomi can have quite a temper herself, so for her to say that means she was really incredibly disappointed.
In at number 3, Kia. Rapper Kia, who is best known for her one-hit wonder from 2002 called My Neck, My Back, has also had her fair share of issues with Cardi B. In 2017, during a segment on her web series called The Queen's Court, she apparently had viewed a video of Cardi that made her lose all respect for the rap star. Although she didn't reference what exactly the video was, music blog Hip Hop Lately quotes her as saying, "She looks like the ring in the tub after 10 people done bathed in it. Y'all know how the ring around the tub looks when everybody in your family bathed in it and nobody decided to wash it out and they keep jumping in it. That's how she looked in that video." Apparently the comments came shortly after hackers had released a video of Cardi in the nude from her husband Offset's iCloud account. Although Kia doesn't exactly have the same star power that she once did, so I really doubt that Cardi B is losing any sleep over those comments.
And at number 2, Asia Davies. Before Cardi was a mainstream name, known as a rapper around the world, she was a reality star on Love and Hip Hop New York, where she also got a reputation for being hot-headed and violent, even throwing a shoe at Asia in the reunion episode. That was all because Cardi was getting a little too close to Asia's boyfriend, Swift, and when Cardi was on Swift's phone one day, she saw that he was getting messages from Asia, talking badly about Cardi. It's also worth noting that Cardi didn't know that he was in a relationship at that time. Before the reunion, the girls had a brief confrontation where they got into a physical fight, which obviously came to a head once again at the reunion when Cardi threw her shoe. So I guess we all could have predicted that shoe throw would happen, once again.
Last but certainly not least, coming in on our number 1 spot, Funkmaster Flex. Funkmaster Flex is an American DJ, rapper, record producer, and host of New York City's Hot 97 Radio. And if there's one thing he's famous for though, it's his hatred for rappers who don't write their own lyrics. He even infamously threw shade at Cardi B's lyrical credibility on Instagram Live in April of 2018. In the IG Live, Funk Flex explains that Cardi's Bodak Yellow was written by a ghostwriter. He goes on to say, "For you Cardi fans, I don't care what her opinion is about anything when you don't write your own shit. I don't care, I don't. Cardi's consistently getting somebody else to write her shit." He then went on to say, "I can't stand rappers who don't write they shit. What did we learn today, boys and girls? Write your own shit. And when your shit gets funny, don't go on the gram and turn your comments off, and don't fire your management as soon as you get to the right place." That was a lot of beeping, and I'm sorry. Although to be fair, I don't believe that it has been proven that Cardi B has ghostwriters, but at the same time, I also wouldn't say that it's impossible.
Starting off at number 7, we have a New York City hostess. Back when exposing rich celebrities was trending online, TikTok user Julia Carolan took the opportunity to share her experiences with celebrities that she met when she was a host at a fancy New York City restaurant. One of those rich celebrities was none other than Hailey Baldwin. When talking about her, she said, quote, "This is gonna be controversial. I've met her a handful of times, and every time she was not nice. I really want to like her, but I have to give her like a 3.5 out of 10. Sorry." And even though Hailey was not the only rude celebrity mentioned, Hailey decided to apologize to the user by writing in the comments of that video, quote, "Just came across this video and wanted to say I'm so sorry if I've ever given you bad vibes or a bad attitude. That's not ever my intention. Hate hearing that was your experience with me, but glad you called me out so I can do better. Hopefully we'll meet again so I can apologize in person." And then Caroline responded thanking her for being accountable and taking the time to apologize. And for this one, she might have exposed that Hailey is maybe a little two-faced, maybe a little rude, but because Hailey apologized, I think we can all safely say that, she's learned and grown and changed, and I think we can accept that apology. And at number 6, paparazzi. One group of people that absolutely hates Alec Baldwin is the paparazzi, as he has assaulted numerous paparazzi on a few occasions. The first and most famous went down in October of 1995 when a photographer was waiting outside of his home to get a glimpse of their newborn daughter. Baldwin started by spraying shaving cream on the paparazzi's windows, then a scuffle started. and Baldwin punched him right in the nose, while Alec denies this and says that he just slapped the camera out of his hand. Baldwin was later acquitted of misdemeanor battery charges in the case and won an invasion of privacy suit against Zanger, though Zanger won a civil case against Baldwin for damages that cost the actor $4,500. The next run-in was in June of 2012, and the Paparazzi said about Baldwin, quote, "He comes after me, starts shoving and punching me, one time right in the chin," but Baldwin denied this and said that he was accosted by the paparazzi. Alec later said in a tweet the paparazzi should be, quote, "waterboarded." Yikes. So clearly, a lot of tension between those two groups. And at number 5, Dr. Daniel Barrett. A plastic surgeon who has gone viral from his videos talking about celebrity plastic surgeries got in some major hot water after he made a video about Hailey Bieber. In the viral TikTok, he compared pictures of Hailey then versus now, and pointed out what he thought was different about her face, saying, quote, "Pay special attention to the nose. What do you think? Well, I'll tell you what I think. I think it's physically impossible without getting a little bit of help from someone like myself to go from this picture to that picture." Adding that he thinks she had a rhinoplasty as well as jawline contouring, skin tightening, lip filler, and a chin implant. And apparently the Biebers are so threatened by this man's opinion that both Justin and Hailey threatened to sue him for the video. The couple accused the doctor of using Hailey's likeness, making claims about her, and using, quote, "copyright protected lyrics from Justin's song Sorry" in the caption. And the fact that he's trying to sue for a caption, like, that's a lot, Justin. Come on. The couples reportedly sent him a cease and desist letter regarding his video, but because he did nothing wrong, it's not been taken down. Hailey somewhat responded to this on Instagram, where she claimed a lot of after photos are edited by the makeup artist, and she doesn't actually look like that. Either way, suing him is ridiculous. And at number 4, Harvey Levin. Even though I'm sure Harvey Levin doesn't have a vendetta against Alec Baldwin or the family in general, he owns gossip site TMZ, who's known for breaking tons of terrible stories about Alec. It was TMZ that exposed him for using the F-word slur, and it started the hate train against the star, even though the allegation turned out to be false. TMZ also leaked the voice memo that Alec left to his daughter Ireland, where he called her tons of horrible names, including a thoughtless little pig, which not only hurt Alec's reputation, but made his daughter Ireland even more hurt and embarrassed than she was before. And at number 3, Alec Baldwin himself. With the amount of insane scandals that Alec Baldwin has been in, I think it's safe to say that he gave us all the warning that we really needed. One incident was when he punched a random guy in the face after they got into a heated fight over a parking spot. Baldwin said that he had a family member holding the spot for him, but then the guy pulled into it. Baldwin and the man started arguing, and then Baldwin decided to sucker punch him right in the face. The next incident was when he was removed off a flight in 2011 because he refused to stop playing a game called Words with Friends on his phone, with Baldwin tweeting out after, quote, "Flight attendant on American reamed me out for playing Words with Friends while we sat at the gate not moving. Hashtag no wonder American Air is bankrupt." Then in another incident, he reamed out the police because they were going to ticket him for riding his bike the wrong way down the street. But he was so difficult they ended up arresting him, causing him to rant that, quote, "New York officials are simply, quote, desperate for revenue and anxious to criminalize behavior once thought benign." And at number 2, Ireland Baldwin. So this is one you should see coming. But Alec has such a bad temper that his own daughter felt his wrath on a long voicemail message he angrily left when she didn't pick up the phone. Back in 2007, the voice message was leaked online, and people got to hear the awful things Alec said to his 11-year-old daughter at the time, with him saying in the call that she was, quote, "a rude, thoughtless little pig." That needed to be, quote, straightened out, and she humiliated him for the last time, with things being extra heated because him and his wife Kim Basinger were in a heated custody battle at the time. At the time, he apologized in a statement saying, quote, "I'm sorry as everyone who knows me is aware for losing my temper with my child. I have been driven to the edge by parental alienation for many years now. You have to go through this to understand, although I hope you never do. I'm sorry for what happened." Thankfully, Ireland can now joke about it, with her saying that it was turned into a bigger deal than it actually was, but I'm sure that definitely hurt a little bit to receive that. In at number 1, Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf got into such a bad feud with Alec Baldwin that he allegedly quit a play right before it was scheduled to premiere. The play was called Orphans, and at the time Shia said he quit due to, quote, creative differences, but later it was revealed that his co-star Alec Baldwin might have been the real reason. He took to Twitter and showed an email that was seemingly sent to Alec, where Shia said that men should behave a certain way, adding, quote, "Alec, I'm sorry for my part of a disagreeable situation." Then there was a screenshot of another email from the play's director where he says he should have listened to Shia earlier. But then Shai posted an email exchange between him and Baldwin, where Baldwin said, quote, "I don't have an unkind word to say about you," which is definitely something you say to someone that you don't like very much, in my experience.